Welcome back to the Deep Dive. If you've been keeping up with the Renegade Immortal Donghua, you know Wang Lin is in, well, about as tight a spot as you can imagine.
That's putting it mildly.
Right, he's in the middle of a heavenly tribulation, which is basically cosmic judgment trying to erase him from existence.
With lightning. Lots of lightning.
And on top of that, he's trapped in the demon spirit land, which is not exactly a friendly neighborhood.
No, not at all. It's a classic, high-stakes scenario. But for anyone who's really gone through the source material for episodes 121 and 122, the lightning is almost a distraction.
A distraction.
I mean, the real story, the things that are going to change the game for him long-term, are the things you can't see.
Yeah.
The hidden entities that are just watching from the shadows, the very specific rules of his dual identity.
And the biggest fight of all might actually be happening in our world.
Exactly. The fate of the story itself, which is being, fiercely contested by its own fan base over this new live-action show.
Okay, so let's get into this. We spent a lot of time sifting through what is, I think we can agree, some of the densest lore in the entire series.
Oh, absolutely. It's a fire hose of information.
But these episodes, they aren't just filler fights. They drop these massive reveals that completely change how you have to think about Wang Lin's strategy.
Yeah.
His past, his present, his future. It all gets recontextualized right here.
Yeah, and if you don't grasp this stuff, you're just watching a cool fight. If you do get it, you understand the chess game he's playing 500 chapters ahead.
It's true. Cultivation stories, Xianxia in general, they love to bury you in jargon.
Ascendant stage, corporeal yang, gumo, gushen.
It's a lot. So our mission today, for everyone listening, is pretty clear. We're going to break it down into 3 parts.
First, we have to talk about that new villain, the one from the post-credits scene in 121.
The one that gave me chills.
Yeah, that guy. We need to identify him, unpack his origins from the ancient immortal demon war, and then talk about the incredibly ironic fate that's waiting for him.
I love the irony. Okay, second,
we have to tackle the big strategic question. Why did Wang Lin's cultivation avatar nearly die while his super powerful ancient god body just sat on the sidelines?
this question was all over the forums.
And answering it unlocks his entire survival strategy. It's the core of how he operates.
And finally, we have to step out of the story. We need to look at the real-world battle, the massive fan resistance to the live-action show. This isn't just about picking the right actor.
No, it's about the very soul of this dark, brutal story and why fans are convinced it just can't be sanitized for TV.
So for all of you listening, especially if you get a little lost in the cultivation stages, we're going to distill it all. We want you to have those aha moments where it all clicks into place.
You understand the why behind the power levels, not just the names. So let's start with the newest threat, the one that's arguably more cunning than anything Wang Lin has faced in this arc.
The Donghua studio, they really know how to leave you hanging. Episode 121 ends. Wang Lin has survived the worst of the lightning. You breathe a sigh of relief, and then, bam.
The post-credits scene.
If you skipped it, you missed the most important part. This incredibly sinister figure appears, and he just stares right at Wang Lin with this malevolent intent. Who was that?
That fleeting glimpse is probably the single most important moment in this whole arc. That figure is the Sanma, which you can translate as the scattered demon or maybe the loose devil. And he isn't your standard run-of-the-mill villain. He's a predator, a specialist, and he represents this predatory cycle at the heart of the cultivation world.
We saw him briefly before, right? A quick flash in episode 116.
We did, but it was ambiguous. This final shot, though, makes his intention crystal clear. He is actively hunting Wang Lin.
So when we hear demon or devil, our minds usually go to some kind of monstrous beast or a cultivator who practices a dark art. But the Sanma is something else entirely, isn't he?
Oh, completely. He's far older and more fundamental. The key thing to understand is that the Sanma is a unique sentient energy form. He doesn't have a body in the way we think of it.
So he's like a spirit or a ghost.
Closer to that, yeah. He's a remnant spirit. A lingering, conscious, and very powerful energy that was formed after an ancient devil, Agumo, died.
An ancient devil. So his origins go all the way back to the beginning of the universe's history.
All the way back. His story begins in the ancient immortal demon war, that sort of mythological event that everything in this universe springs from.
Okay, so when something as powerful as an ancient devil dies, its energy doesn't just dissipate. It doesn't just return to the world.
Not always. When an entity of that magnitude perishes, its residual essence, its understanding of the Tao, its consciousness, it creates this incredibly volatile vacuum. If the conditions are just right, that power can coalesce. It can gain a new malevolent sentience.
And it's driven by what? A memory of its old life?
It's driven by a single primal urge to restore its power, to become whole again. That's what the Sanma is. He's the walking, talking ghost of an ancient devil, a conscious wound in reality that has survived for millennia.
That makes him sound, way more dangerous than just a powerful cultivator. He's an existential threat.
He is. He's cunning, he's ancient, and most importantly, he has zero ethical constraints. He's not burdened by things like morality or mortality. He is pure predatory need.
Which brings up the question of timing. If he's so ancient, why now? Why the demon spirit land? Surely Wang Lin isn't the first powerful person he's sensed in thousands of years.
And timing is absolutely everything, and it shows you how he thinks. The Sanma is a specialist hunter. He doesn't just look for power. He tracks specific, massive disturbances in spiritual energy.
Like a heavenly tribulation?
Exactly like a heavenly tribulation. He detected Wang Lin undergoing the trial to break through to the ascendant stage, the wending stage.
Okay, let's pause there. The ascendant stage. For anyone who's a bit fuzzy on the power levels, why is reaching that particular stage like ringing a dinner bell for this ancient ghost?
So the wending stage is a massive leap. It's not just about getting more chi. It's about a fundamental change in the quality of your life force, your vitality. It's the first step into the second major tier of cultivation.
This is where you start to merge your soul with your body, right? Forming a real Tao heart.
Precisely. And the raw, pure energy that is released during the tribulation and the refined essence that exists in a cultivator for a short time right after they succeed, it's incredibly potent. It's volatile.
It's a feast.
For the Sanma, who has been in a damaged, diminished state for eons, this isn't just a feast. It's the ultimate medicine. It's concentrated, high-grade spiritual energy that is perfectly designed to restore his ancient Gomo power.
So Wang Lin isn't just a target. He's a custom-made gourmet power-up package.
Yeah.
The Sanma literally wants to eat his entire cultivation base to heal himself.
That's his entire plan. But the story throws in a twist that makes this so much worse for Wang Lin personally.
Of course it does.
It's not just some random ancient monster. The sources confirm that the Sanma is the current secret master of Wang Lin's second disciple.
Oh no, that is just brutal.
It moves this from a simple power struggle into a genuine crisis of faith for Wang Lin. This isn't just an external threat anymore. The villain has infiltrated his tiny, fragile circle of trust.
And for a character like Wang Lin, who has been betrayed so many times and is almost pathologically protective of the few people he lets in, that's the worst possible blow.
Exactly. It makes the confrontation so much more personal. Wang Lin, has this almost supernatural ability to sense malice and killing intent.
Yeah.
He sensed the Sanma's presence right away.
But realizing it's connected to his own disciple, that adds a whole layer of conflict that has nothing to do with power levels. It's an emotional trap.
He now has to figure out how to neutralize this ancient threat that is tangled up with someone he chose to protect and guide.
The dread is real.
Yeah.
But, we have the benefit of hindsight here. Does this ancient predator become a recurring supervillain? Does he haunt Wang Lin for the rest of the story?
He does not. And this is where you get this just beautiful, dark narrative justice. Despite all his power, his cunning, his ancient knowledge, the Sanma made one fatal miscalculation.
He targeted the protagonist.
He fundamentally underestimated Wang Lin's ability to turn the Predator's own strategy back on him. The Sanma is absolutely 100% destined to become a stepping stone.
A stepping stone. That's the ultimate insult. He came to consume and he ends up being consumed.
Precisely. Wang Lin is, at his core, a strategist. He knows he can't just fight the Sanma head-on and win, not at this stage. But he also understands the entity's core weakness.
Which is what?
Its nature. It's a being of pure volatile energy. It doesn't have a true physical form. So Wang Lin uses his genius with restrictions, his tactical mind, and his understanding of the demon spirit land's ancient laws to, trap him. He isolates the Sanma.
He contains him. But how do you contain a piece of a dead god? That sounds difficult.
It is a logistical nightmare, and it's a very long-term project. He doesn't just absorb him overnight. He seals him away. Think of it like capturing a conscious, angry nuclear reactor and putting it in a box.
So this isn't resolved in a single fight.
Not at all. This containment arc spans a huge portion of the narrative. The Sanma becomes this sort of ticking time bomb and a secret reservoir of power that Wang Lin is slowly, carefully trying to process.
And he's not just trying to take his energy, is he? It's something deeper.
It is. The goal is to integrate the Sanma's Tao. The ancient devil lineage, the Gumo, they lived by the Tao of slaughter, of pure, predatory ruthlessness. For Wang Lin to advance, he has to forcibly integrate that ancient malice into his own philosophical core.
That sounds incredibly dangerous. Like you could lose yourself in that process. It's not just a power-up. It's a spiritual transformation that could permanently change who he is.
It's a necessary risk. And the ultimate payoff for this massive gamble comes much, much later in the story when Wang Lin reaches the peak of the corporeal yang stage, the Xianxia stage.
Okay, let's define that. Corporeal yang, what does that mean?
So it's the final stage of that second cultivation tier we mentioned. It starts with yin-zhu, corporeal yin, and ends with yang-shi, corporeal yang. It means a cultivator has absolutely perfected their physical body and their essence. Their flesh and soul are perfectly compatible. It's the absolute peak of strength you can achieve before you take the leap into the third tier, into nirvana.
So at his absolute physical peak, he finally decides to open the box.
He does, and the refinement process is explosive. The Sanma, that ancient, powerful remnant, provides the exact critical fuel he needs. We call it the ultimate experience package, but it's more than that.
It's the final ingredient.
It's the integration of that pure, ancient power that allows Wang Lin to achieve his next massive breakthrough into the Nirvana Scryer stage. The Kuni stage.
And the Nirvana Scryer stage is all about perception, right?
Yeah.
Seeing through illusions, achieving true self-knowledge.
Exactly. It's a huge philosophical jump. And the fact that he can only reach that level of clarity after digesting the pure, unadulterated malice of an ancient devil, I mean, that tells you everything you need to know about his path.
It's so dark and perfect. The Sanma, who survived a cosmic war and hunted for millennia, ends up being the precise spiritual catalyst the protagonist needed. He hand-delivered the very power he wanted to consume.
It's a beautiful piece of efficient, brutal storytelling. It cements Wang Lin as a character who doesn't just overcome his enemies, he maximizes them. He turns them into fuel.
That whole discussion about the Sanma just perfectly sets up the biggest strategic question that came out of this arc.
I know the one you're talking about.
It was all over the fan communities. You watch Wang Lin's cultivation avatar get absolutely battered, absorbing lightning, nearly getting consumed by these ancient forces. And the whole time you're thinking, where is his other body?
Right. His main body is a 4-star ancient god. It's immensely powerful and it shares the same consciousness. Why didn't it just storm into the demon spirit land and end the fight?
It seems like a huge tactical error. Why leave your weaker half to fend for itself?
It's the central dilemma of his dual identity. And you have to understand the answer to understand Wang Lin's entire long-term plan for survival. And the answer, really, is twofold. The main body couldn't help, and even if it could, it shouldn't have.
Okay, let's start with the logistics. Why couldn't it? We're talking about a being that can probably shatter mountains just by looking at them funny.
Reason one is just, basic geography and cosmic politics. The demon spirit land isn't just a dangerous place on a map. It's a sealed, autonomous realm.
It has borders and guards.
And very powerful guards at that. There are extremely strong entities stationed at the East Sea Demon Spirit Gate. The Avatar managed to slip in, but once the tribulation started and all this attention was drawn to the area, the seals and defenses intensified.
So the main body, which was outside, couldn't just punch its way through.
Not without starting a massive, world-altering war. And that would draw the kind of attention that even an ancient god can't handle. So from a tactical standpoint, it was basically impossible.
Okay, that makes sense. But the source material really emphasizes that the physical barrier was the least of his worries. The real risk was existential.
Yes, the critical lore risk, the ancient god scent.
The scent.
This is maybe the single most important piece of information governing his entire dual body strategy. The ancient god main body is, as we said, incredibly powerful. A 4-star ancient god is, without question, stronger than his ascendant stage avatar. But that power comes with a catastrophic vulnerability. The body emits a unique, intrinsic, and highly detectable aura, the ancient god scent.
And what does that mean exactly? Is it like a fate spiritual signature? Or is it something more obvious?
It's a beacon. a giant flashing cosmic neon sign. For any cultivator who has reached a high enough stage, we're talking Nirvana Scryer or above, that scent is unmistakable.
And it doesn't smell like a threat to them.
It smells like the ultimate prize. It's not the scent of power, it's the scent of creation, the primal force of the universe itself. To these apex predators of the cultivation world, it smells like the rarest, most valuable resource in existence.
So if the main body had entered the demon spirit land, or even gotten close, who are the specific people we should be worried about picking up this scent?
Well, the sources are very clear about the immediate threats in that region. You're talking about incredibly powerful, dangerous experts who specialize in things like soul transference and body possession.
Like who?
Figures like Tian Yinzi.
Wait, his own master? The guy who was supposed to be guiding him?
That's the chilling part, yes. And the demon emperor himself, the ruler of the very land he was in.
So his own master would hunt him. Why?
Because in the cold, ruthless calculus of high-level cultivation, a living ancient god body is a prize that transcends any personal loyalty. If they detected a living, breathing, 4-star ancient god, their first and only priority would be to capture it.
Not to kill it, but to capture it.
Exactly. They would hunt him down to either study it, to try and understand the fundamental mechanics of the ancient clan, or, and this is the more terrifying option, to try and seize the body for themselves, to perform a soul transfer and take it over.
Because an ancient god body is the ultimate vessel. It's a container capable of wielding power that a normal human cultivator couldn't even dream of.
It's the perfect body, and that instantly clarifies his strategy, doesn't it? The main body's immense power is also its greatest weakness.
But the whole thing's a calculated risk. The avatar, which follows the path of human cultivation, is the public face. It's weaker, but it's also...
It's the safe, disposable human disguise. It's the part of him that can take all the risks, interact with the world, face tribulations, get into fights, and all the while, the immensely powerful but existentially vulnerable ancient god body stays hidden, safe, cultivating its own unique power in seclusion.
It's his ultimate insurance policy.
It's the only way he can survive against the true apex predators of this universe.
And this whole strategy, this whole crisis, it brings us to the deeper lore that was revealed. During the tribulation, Wang Lin made a desperate move. He beat the Tianyao drum.
A total Hail Mary pass. He had no idea what it would do.
And it woke up something ancient.
It woke up a sleeping giant. By striking that drum, he awakened the Tianyao, the heavenly demon. And this entity, even though it's just a wisp of a soul at this point, it used that connection to drop a massive lore bomb on him.
It revealed the deep history of the universe.
The tripartite origin of power.
Okay, so we always hear about gods, demons, and devils, and they're usually at war with each other. What did the Tianyao say their actual origin was?
The Tianyao explained that this conflict is, cosmologically speaking, a relatively recent development. At the very beginning of time, the ancient clan was a single, unified, all-powerful race. They were the peak of existence.
But something had...
Over eons, through conflict, through ideological disagreements, the race fractured. It split into 3 distinct, powerful lineages that, crucially, all share the same common ancestor.
The first one being the ancient gods, the Guxian.
Correct. The ancient gods are defined by one thing: pure power and force. They are the masters of physical might. They can shatter the laws of reality with sheer brute strength. This is Wang Lin's main body. That is its path.
Then you have the lineage we just discussed with the Sanma, the ancient devils.
The Gumo. And they are the ideological opposites. They are defined by slaughter and blood. They are the ruthless, predatory faction. Their strength is tied to destruction and violence. The Sanma is the perfect, lingering echo of that philosophy.
And finally, the Tianyao's own people.
The ancient demons, or Guyao. Their path is the mastery of spells and divine abilities. They are the sorcerers, the tacticians, the manipulators of natural law. The Tianyao entity in the drum belongs to this lineage.
So gods, devils, and demons are all siblings, or at least cousins.
They are 3 branches of the same ancient family tree. And understanding that is vital because it elevates this whole story. It's not just a local conflict anymore. It's a cosmological legacy battle.
And that shared ancestry is the reason the Tianyao makes a deal with him, right? The Tianyao is just a tiny fragment of a soul. Why trust Wang Lin with this huge world-spanning mission?
Because he's incredibly discerning. A normal cultivator's body would shatter under the pressure of what the Tianyao needs. But he senses that unmistakable ancient god aura from Wang Lin.
The scent.
The scent, the aura of a sibling lineage. And that innate compatibility means Wang Lin's body is strong enough to handle the mission he has in mind.
Which is what?
The Tianyao proposes a partnership, a binding deal. In exchange for power and help, Wang Lin has to travel to 8 other counties and collect the scattered souls of other ancient demons to help the Tianyao become whole again.
So this deep history lesson confirms it. Their shared origin, their cosmic genetics, is the only reason this strange tactical alliance can even happen. This is way beyond human cultivation. This is cosmic diplomacy. We've spent a good amount of time now on the life or death stakes inside Wang Lin's world. The lore, the strategy. But now we have to turn our attention to a conflict that is causing, I would say, just as much anxiety among the fans.
And that's the proposed live-action TV show.
The reaction has been intense. The sources are very clear about this. Something like over 80% of the fan base is actively opposed to the project, specifically because it's being handled by Huanri's Century.
That kind of unified backlash is, it's pretty rare. Even for a passionate Xianxia fandom, it tells you there's a deep structural fear here.
A fear of what, exactly? That they'll just make a bad show?
It's deeper than that. The fans are basically arguing that Renegade Immortal, this specific story, is fundamentally unadaptable. At least not under the current commercial and censorship rules in the industry.
Okay, let's break down their arguments because they're very specific. Let's start with the protagonist himself. There's a wide consensus that Wang Lin is, and I'm quoting here, uncastable.
He is, and the problem is twofold. It's both aesthetic and psychological.
Let's start with the aesthetic. The look.
Visually, Wang Lin, at his most iconic, has a very specific look. It's this white-haired, broken aesthetic. That look is symbolic. It represents thousands of years of suffering, his profound loneliness, and the cosmic power he wields that has cost him everything.
In the Donghua, it looks amazing. It's tragic, it's powerful, it's beautiful. What's the fear with translating that to live action?
The fear is that it's going to look like bad cosplay. That's the blunt truth. Fans are worried that with TV budgets and the need to appeal to a mass market, you're going to get a cheap, synthetic-looking white wig and some theatrical makeup.
It would turn the tragedy into something laughable.
Exactly. You need an actor who can embody that brokenness from the inside out, not just someone wearing a costume.
And that brings us to the second bigger problem, the vibe problem. Most successful Xianxia heroes that get adapted are, pretty accessible. They're warm, they're heroic, they're focused on romance.
Wang Lin is none of those things. He is the definitive anti-hero of this genre. His entire journey is defined by solitude, by paranoia, by immense personal loss, and by a cold, calculated killing intent.
He's a survivor first, a killer second, and an immortal third.
Right. And his face is a mask of stoicism most of the time. The audience has to believe, just by looking at him, that this is a man who has endured millennia of loneliness and has done monstrous things to survive.
He starts out as this naive kid, but the vast majority of the story is about his complete transformation into this ruthless figure who has consciously sacrificed his own humanity for power.
And that arc requires an actor with just incredible range. And the fan consensus is deeply, deeply skeptical that the current pool of actors in the Chinese entertainment industry, many of whom are chosen for their fresh-faced, idol-like image, have that kind of depth.
They need someone who can portray that shattered beauty visually, but also carry the emotional weight of a man who has committed mass slaughter. It's a huge ask.
It is. It demands a veteran actor who can show you that weariness in their eyes, not just through CGI and makeup.
Okay, so the casting is a huge hurdle.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the business side. The production company is H&R Century. Why is there so much specific distrust aimed at them?
There are a few practical reasons. There have been reports of a significant talent drain at the company.
Meaning their big established stars are leaving.
Exactly. And when your top seasoned actors start heading for the exits, it often signals some kind of internal instability or a shift in strategy. And the fear among fans is that this means the lead role of Wang Lin won't go to a professional who can handle it.
It's all good.
To a relatively inexperienced newcomer, an actor who is being positioned for quick fame to be the next big thing.
So they're worried the company will prioritize making a new star over serving the story, choosing a marketable face over the right actor for a very complex role.
That's the core fear, that it's about maximizing immediate profit, not protecting the narrative integrity.
Which leads us to the biggest fear of all, one that everyone agrees on, the censorship death knell.
This is the issue that unites the entire opposition. At its very core, Renegade Immortal is a dark cultivation story, meaning Wang Lin's path to power is the Tao of slaughter. He doesn't just kill reluctantly when he has to. He kills strategically. He kills to break his own mental barriers. He kills for resources. He kills to enact cold, brutal revenge. Killing is a fundamental part of his advancement.
And that philosophy is in direct conflict with the current censorship standards for television.
It's an irreconcilable difference. The standards often demand that protagonists must be morally virtuous, heroic, focused on positive values like saving the world.
And Wang Lin is not that.
Not even close. So the fans' fear, which is extremely justified, is that the most crucial plot points in the entire nutshell simply cannot be shown on TV.
We're talking about the moments that define his turn to darkness.
Yes. Key, brutal events that show him crossing the moral event horizon. Things like the infamous Tower of Heads, which is this monument to his own ruthlessness, or the complete, systematic, and defining extermination of the entire Tang family.
If you take those things out, if you sanitize the slaughter, you're not just editing the story, you're fundamentally rewriting the protagonist.
You're removing his motivation. You're erasing his character arc. And that's the fear. It's not just that the scenes will be toned down. It's that Wang Lin himself will be rewritten.
He'll become a generic, politically safe hero who saves the world with virtue.
Instead of the solitary, cold, morally gray anti-hero from the book, the entire point of the Renegade Immortal is that he defies traditional morality. And the pressures of capital, of mass market appeal, always tend to flatten those interesting, dangerous edges.
And flattening those edges often means adding in something else that the market demands.
Oh, yes. The forced romance.
This is a huge point of contention for novel readers.
It is, because in the original story, there is romance. Wang Lin loves Li Muwan very, very deeply, but it's subdued. It's secondary to his main goal, which is survival and power.
His path is a lonely one by definition. She's absent for huge, massive chunks of the story.
And that fits his character. But television adaptations have a formula. They need a romantic hook to get the biggest possible audience.
They need something to put in the trailers.
They do. So they routinely inject these long, drawn-out romantic subplots to appeal to different demographics. And the fan dread is that this dark, complex cultivation saga is going to get sidelined.
And the show will become a melodramatic love story.
A love triangle, a tragic romance, whatever sells. And for many fans, taking his dark, solitary journey and burying it under a generic romance plot is the ultimate betrayal of the source material. This whole controversy, it really just highlights this fundamental clash.
The fans want the brutal, uncompromising dark day of the novel.
And the producers are caught between that and the economic and political pressure to create a bland, safe, mass-market product.
Okay, let's leave the real world behind for a bit and dive back into the story itself. Because this Demon Spirit Land arc opened up so many lingering questions.
Oh, it's packed with little mysteries. These are the details that really reward you if you're paying close attention.
And they give us a much deeper understanding of what this realm really is. It's not just a place.
No, it's a machine. It's built on ancient, powerful mechanisms that the current inhabitants don't even understand. So, the sources highlight 3 big mysteries. Let's start with a small one that has huge implications. The mystery of Yellow Dragon.
Right. Soon after Wang Lin arrives, he's in a native tribe, and he sees a portrait of Master Huanglong.
Which should be impossible.
Exactly. Why would a portrait of a known cultivator from the outside world be hanging in a shrine deep inside this sealed, isolated land?
It strongly implies a hidden history, a history of intervention. The only logical reason for that portrait to be there is if an ancestor, or maybe a previous incarnation of Huanglong, was the one who brought those people into the Demon Spirit Land in the first place.
And we know Huanglong is associated with the Vermilion Bird sect. We also know the Demon Spirit Land was originally the personal domain, the cave of the incredibly powerful, immortal Emperor King Lin.
So the big question becomes, what is the connection between the Vermilion Bird sect and Emperor King Lin's ancient territory?
There must be some kind of deal or history between them.
The leading theory, the high-level lore theory, is that Huanglong isn't just some guy. He's an avatar or an agent of the Zhu Kui, the Vermilion Bird Holy Emperor, one of the ultimate cosmic beings in the setting.
Wow. Okay.
And if that's true, it suggests the Demon Spirit Land isn't just run by the current Demon Emperor, it's contested territory. There's probably an ancient agreement or a debt that involves the Vermilion Bird Holy Emperor.
So that one tiny detail, a portrait on a wall, completely expands the political scope of the entire story. It hints at future conflicts way beyond what Wang Lin is dealing with right now.
Exactly. Now, let's look at a paradox inside the land itself. the absence of high-level cultivators.
Right. This place is ancient, it's huge, it's filled with spiritual energy. But the natives, they're all capped at a surprisingly low power level. Why?
It is one of the most chilling things about the place. The strongest natives can only reach the yin shu stage, corporeal yin.
Which is the very first step of that second cultivation tier. In a place this ancient, you'd expect to find masters, people at the nirvana scryer stage, or even higher. But there are none.
The absence is deliberate, and the reason why is horrifyingly practical. The land is being managed as a farm.
A farm.
And
the cultivators are the crops.
Precisely. It's a farm for the ancient demon who secretly controls the realm. The inhabitants are allowed to cultivate, to grow. They absorb the land's energy, which is demon power. They are allowed to reach the corporeal yin stage.
Why that stage specifically?
Because at the yin-zhu stage, a cultivator has created this highly purified physical essence, but their spiritual foundation is still vulnerable. They're still dependent on external energy. They are, in a word, perfect for harvesting.
So once they get strong enough to be useful, but before they get strong enough to be a threat?
They are harvested by the entity in charge, or their progression is just stopped cold by the ancient laws that govern the realm itself. The system is designed to keep the population perpetually productive, but also perpetually weak and vulnerable.
That is the ultimate form of systemic predation. The demon spirit land isn't just a dangerous place, it's a resource extraction machine.
It's a living engine designed for the recovery of a higher power, whether that's the ancient demon or something else even older lurking underneath.
Okay, finally, let's talk about the slaughter zone mechanics. Wang Lin ends up in this underground killing field where people are trapped in this endless loop of death and revival.
It's a brutal mechanism. They're killed by this weapon called the Emperor's Sword. Their energy gets absorbed by the sword, and then the sword's own vitality instantly revives them, just so they can be killed again.
And again, until their souls are just numb. The obvious purpose is to train killers or refine the sword.
Right. But the appearance of that black-haired youth, the one who looks exactly like the character Mo Fei, that suggests there's something much more complex going on. This isn't just a simple training ground that the current, relatively weak Demon Emperor could have built.
It hints at the forgotten technology of the original owner.
The immortal Emperor, King Lin. The fact that there's an identical youth appearing suggests incredibly advanced mechanisms are running in the background. We could be talking about complex cloning technology designed to replicate opponents for training. Or maybe even forms of localized time dilation, where people are forced to relive combat over and over in what feels like moments to an outsider.
So the current Demon Emperor, he's not the architect of this system. He's more like a caretaker who found the keys to an ancient superweapon.
That's the implication. He's just pressing buttons on technology that he doesn't fully comprehend. He's using these ancient instruments, the sword, the slaughter zone, the laws limiting the natives that were all left behind by King Lin.
He's benefiting from this ancient god-tier tech, but he probably doesn't even know the risks he's taking by using it.
Exactly. And it provides fantastic context for Wang Lin's future. He isn't just fighting a local tyrant. He's fighting the ghost of an ancient, impossibly advanced technological civilization. #tag outer.
This has been, I think, a really necessary deep dive into what is one of the most dense and strategic arcs in all of Renegade Immortal.
It really is. So much happens under the surface.
We've managed to dissect Wang Lin's brilliant, if brutal, strategy for hiding his ancient god body to stay alive. We've detailed the incredible ironic fate of the San Ma, who wanted to be a predator and ended up as the perfect power-up.
And we got that essential context for the entire universe, the origin of the ancient clan as these three sibling races: gods, devils, and demons.
And of course, we can't ignore the conflict happening right now. The live-action controversy is so much more than a fan dispute.
It really is. It highlights this existential struggle between the uncompromising dark Tao of Wang Lin and the immense flattening pressure of capital trying to sanitize powerful art so it can be sold to the widest possible audience.
The fans' resistance is really a testament to the idea that the integrity of this unique, ruthless story is something worth fighting for.
Absolutely. The story of survival, of sacrifice, and the relentless, often ugly, accumulation of power.
You know, we spent a lot of time talking about the mechanics of the demon spirit land, how the natives are intentionally capped at the corporeal yin stage.
Because they're being harvested. They're resources for a higher power.
Right. And that idea of living beings being intentionally limited to serve as fuel for some larger unseen engine, that brings up a really powerful question for you, for anyone listening. When you are cultivating or striving for any ambitious goal in your life that costs you vital energy or time or personal sacrifice, how certain can you ever really be that you're pursuing your own power path?
And not just acting as a perfectly managed resource in someone else's ancient, hidden, or systemic mechanism.
It's a concept that applies way beyond Xianxia. It applies to any system where advancement comes at a hidden necessary cost. And it's definitely something worth mulling over the next time you're pushing for that next stage.